Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends. Ryan Lochte back in the news. The Kaepernick saga continues. There's some MLB playoffs looming. NFL teams handing out big money. And a little WWE action starting now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Debates Among Friends live on Mixlr. Like us on our Facebook page at Debates Among Friends. Tonight is the 18th edition of this podcast, and we're glad you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. I am known as the Professor, and always by my side, dropping those great knowledges, the Doctor. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, sir?
You know me, always ready for a great debate, and I'm not talking about that movie with Denzel Washington.
It's dumb! It's dumb! It's debate time!
Well, now, before we do that, we do have a special guest with us tonight. You know, they said, we want this guy back. The ladies were screaming. They were so upset. I mean, they slashed my tires a little bit. They demanded this guy to come back. So we said, okay, we got to pull the money together, get him back up here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. October himself. How you doing tonight, Mr. October?
Doing wonderful. How about you? How about you guys? How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good. If y'all ready for a debate, let's get started with the breaking news.
A swimmer by the name of Ryan Lochte. Suspended for 10 months and World Championships. Was it worth the lie?
No, not really. I mean,
was it worth it? I mean, couldn't he have just... What? Do we even have to go back to that original story to see what it was? Like, was it even important?
Not really. I mean, in all honesty, it's not that important at all.
I mean, you get suspended for 10 months and no World Championships for a lie, a small lie, big lie, a lie in general? Was it worth it?
Well, as my mother has always said, the cover-up is always worse than the actual crime.
Exactly. Fully agree.
He did a boneheaded thing. He probably knew it was going to come out eventually, so he figured he'd concoct this story to, I don't know, make it go away. I don't know what he hoped to do or accomplish with it, but he was a fool, and it's another bad decision in a list of bad decisions he has made. So
I know it's early, and we usually wait till the end of the show to usually give these out. We haven't given one out for this month yet, so I'm just going to immediately give him the plez of the month. Can I just do that? Can I give him a plez? The plez of the month. Terrible. What a terrible job. I mean, first you let down the country with the lie. Now you can't even serve. You can't even do what you do best, which is swim.
Yeah.
For 10 months.
10 months.
And he did the worst possible thing. I mean, everybody leading up to Rio was worried about crime and safety, and he created a story that played on every athlete's or every tourist's worst fear.
Absolutely.
For nothing. And I mean, it's one of those situations where, and we talked about that. I think I mentioned him last week when we were talking. It's so funny that I just mentioned this last week. How embarrassing he was.
Hashtag check the tapes.
And I said how he had embarrassed America, but people were, of course we're going to get into some Kaepernick later, but he embarrassed America on a stage that it didn't even have to be there. Like, that didn't even have to happen, but he did it anyway. And that's a disgrace, so to speak. And I think that people should be outraged, and they should be going down and kicking his door down and really, really getting upset at him right now.
Right now.
I agree.
But issue is, that's not going to happen. It's not
going to happen. We're so stuck on Cap, man. It's not. Nothing. No one can do anything wrong at this point because Cap is Cat.
And we're
No one
gonna
else.
talk. We're gonna talk about that, but let's just finish on this Ryan Lochte story because it's just so interesting, and we keep talking about the dynamics of the public view.
Well, it's definitely a double standard. I mean, Hope Solo, who we know she's had legal trouble, but it's been mostly domestic issues with her, and I'm not sure if it's her husband or her boyfriend. But she called the team that they lost to cowards, which, I mean, she's a sore loser. So am I. I know that feeling. You get very angry when you you always feel like there's something else you could have done, and for whatever reason, the other team doesn't deserve to win.
Absolutely.
But she got suspended, but her career ended on that. They suspended her for a year and null and voided her contract over calling somebody cowards. This guy fabricated a story and falsified a police report, and it took a longer time for him to get any sort of penalty than it did for Hope Solo. And all she did was call the other team cowards. I mean, if you don't see a double standard there, then I don't know what to tell you, but it definitely is.
It's interesting that you keep saying double standards because that's the recurring theme here on Debates Among Friends is we keep identifying places or identifying situations where there's always double standards. And just to throw it out there too, there was I believe it was a French gymnast or Italian gymnast, or there was some gymnasts who made some racial slurs toward a couple of the African American gymnasts at these Olympics as well too. But that's another thing for another day. But let us continue on, get the process going a little bit more. Let's talk about something that, well, Mr. October is here for. Let's talk about the Major League Baseball playoff positioning. Actually, we just had ourselves a technical difficulty because Mr. October decided he wanted to go to the batting cage real quick, so we're going to try to bring him back on.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Mr. October, you get the pledge of the day.
No, but no, you're good. We were just going into the MLB playoffs that are looming and coming around. I mean, what do you think so far about how things are shaping up in the world of baseball?
I think it's pretty interesting. I'll start briefly with the local teams. I mean, the Mets looked like they were doing their typical after the All-Star break swoon, but all of a sudden they've fattened up on the Phillies, on the Cardinals, the Nationals. Now they take a game from the Reds. So I mean, the Mets look like they're making a case to be back in the playoffs. The Yankees are with all this youth ever since A-Rod retired and Teixeira announced his retirement, and you have Aaron Judge and Tyler Austin and Gary Sanchez, and being led by all of a sudden the veterans of the team, or soon-to-be veterans, with Didi Gregorius and Starlin Castro at the ripe old age of, I believe, 27 respectively, 24 respectively. In their late 20s. This team has shown a lot of spark with the youth, and they're actually winning 2-0 against the Blue Jays, and that they're making a case that they could even contend for the title with only being about 4.5 games out.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because
but the rest of the playoff. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was saying it's interesting that you mentioned the Yankees and their youth. I mean, I believe we just won one last night, I believe, from a last-second outfield catch, which was incredible.
Brett Gardner.
Exactly.
Full disclosure, as a Yankee fan, that made my heart jump into my throat because it was 7-5 and Toronto started clawing back and the bases were loaded, and Smoke hit a bomb to left field, and Brett Gardner caught it right at the wall. So and it was great because he caught it and then had to hang on after banging into the wall. Yep. And he looked, and he was like a little leaguer. Like, again, he just looked at his glove and made this leap, like he had just won the Little League World Series. I mean, it was beautiful. It was actually pretty funny. But I mean, the playoff picture is kind of shaping up in the East, in the American League East, kind of the way it's been all year. Boston and Toronto are hanging on at the top. Baltimore is right there at a game and a half out. Yep. And the Yankees are making their case. Cleveland.
I was going to say Cleveland. I mean, do you think LeBron might have went into the the dugout and said, "Hey guys, I need you to step your game up."
He's like, if
Listen,
I can do it, you can do it.
For real.
Listen, I know the Patriots were winning championships in Boston before the Red Sox had that big comeback win in '04. But there is something to be said that when a team that has had a monkey on their back for generations all of a sudden shakes it off, it benefits the whole city. I mean, Boston became title town for a while. You had the Red Sox, then you had the Celtics, you had the Bruins, the Patriots continue to roll.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's any surprise that feel good and that optimism of, hey, well, look, a Cleveland team finally won a championship, so maybe we can too.
And the pressure's off now because you don't have to be the first. I mean, obviously, you never want to be the second, but you don't have the pressure of, oh my God, the first Cleveland team. LeBron can handle that pressure. I'm not sure if the Indians can.
Right, I agree. And then in the American League West, you have Texas and Houston, and they're battling out for. Well, Texas looks like they're running away with it, but Houston is making a case for the wild card, and
yeah,
Nationals.
It's kind of unfortunate that that's all I hear out here. So I'm just like, it doesn't matter.
Right,
You still can't beat my Yankees. Whatever.
Wow.
And the Dodgers are doing their thing, and the Giants are making it interesting. And you're right. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, I can't imagine as an ex North New Jersey, New York Metro Patriot living out there, how tough that must be.
Not as bad as being a
Cowboys
fan
all the time.
Hi-yo.
Yeah, you got to hear about the Cowboys. Oh God.
But here's the big question.
Definitely shaping up though.
As usual, the people are screaming in my ears. They're telling me, Professor, ask Mr. October this before the ladies do what they normally do whenever he's around in the side of the room. They want to know what team has been the biggest disappointment as we head towards the final stretch of the regular season.
The biggest disappointment. I would probably just looking at it and well, actually, I mean, you can look at it two ways. Kansas City. I mean, this is a team that went to the World Series last year, and they really haven't been a threat all year up until. What was that?
I said they went to 2 World Series, didn't they? Didn't they just go back to back?
Kansas City? No, this was their first one.
No. I know they won last year, but didn't they go the prior year as well too? And they lost.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. They got swept the year before.
There you go.
So Kansas City.
At least make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. Well, Kansas City and the Mets. I mean, I would think those are 2 big disappointments. The Mets have been dealing with injury woes, and Kansas City just hasn't been able to find that offense that they rode last year.
Yeah, I heard that the San Francisco Giants, shout out to Mr. Anderson out there, his team took a massive dive. Like, they started to run away with the NL West, but then all of a sudden they just started slumping like crazy. I think they're finally starting to battle back a little bit.
They are. They're as we speak tonight, they're 4 games out of first behind their ever-long rivals, the Dodgers, and they're only a half game out of the wild card. So they're definitely battling back into it. And Kansas City did the same thing. Kansas City was almost irrelevant all season, and all of a sudden, toward the end of the season, they've woken up. And the same thing could be said of their NL challengers last year in the World Series. The Mets are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
St. Louis, who's always very good. They've actually been kind of a disappointment. They're 15.5 out of first. I mean, the Cubs have run away and hid with the NL Central.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this may be it for Chicago's long-suffering fans. They may finally have something here.
I was going to say that too, because the Cubs. Oh my goodness. I mean, tell the people about how the Cubs are doing. What's your viewpoint on them? I know they're not in our league, so we don't have to say that they suck, but at the same time, we're here trying to give a unbiased opinion. What do you think about the Cubs season?
I think the Cubs. If I would pick the Cubs to win the World Series this year, I would. If I was Chicago, I'd really start to maybe get some preparations ready for a parade and crowd control. Because that city's going to lose its mind if this team wins the World Series after over 100 years of not winning anything, and having so many near misses. The Cubs, I would say they're the most complete team in baseball.
Wow.
They do everything well. They hit well. They field well. Their pitching is outstanding. And if one guy gets hurt, another guy gets up and steps up and carries the load. It's not like one guy goes down and the whole team starts to collapse or get weak. I mean, they have such a good system that they just plug guys in. And it's like, all right, you got hurt. All right, we'll bring you in. And boom. I mean, you have Anthony Rizzo. Yeah, you're not wrong in that. I mean, Joe Madden is, he didn't have the money to do it with Tampa Bay. I'm sure he wished he could have. But Tampa Bay being such a small market, he couldn't do it there. He got close. I mean, he made the Rays relevant, and he got them to the World Series.
Yeah.
Great, great. On a low salary cap too. I mean, they did it with so much left on the cap though. It was ridiculous.
Exactly. I mean, he had to find a lot of diamonds in the rough and really polish them up.
Absolutely.
But I like that style, though. I really like that style of building a team, though. Like, I really, really enjoy that. I mean, it's easy when you're getting all the top talent. You know what I mean? That's an easy way out. But when you can develop your own guys, I love that style of being a manager.
So much more.
Right, because you get more freedom, so to speak, to actually build it, and you should take more credit too. I mean, this is your team here. You built this. Nobody can come in and do what you're doing because they won't have the same impact. And I do like that style of approach of building a team. Is really important in the future.
Absolutely.
I completely agree, and with the parity that's coming to baseball, I mean, you can see the Yankees doing it. The Dodgers are the big spenders in Major League Baseball. The Yankees have, famously, they didn't give that large contract to Cano. That's a contract that 20 years ago they would have handed it over without even blinking an eye.
This is true.
So I think the Giants winning, I think the Red Sox winning, I think that Moneyball mentality has really taken hold. I mean, yeah, you can have all the money in the world, but if you can't develop players and if you can't get value for your dollar in terms of a player, then what are you spending money on?
Absolutely, completely agree.
I mean, then you just become this team that brings in guys past their prime just to sell jerseys and hot dogs.
My New Year fix, but that's for another debate for another time. We're gonna move on. Colin Kaepernick is once again one of the major headlines. So we need to continue on this debate.
We didn't really get Senor October's opinion on Cap last week. I mean, so we won't go into what's current and what's going on now. I mean, what do you think about this whole Kaepernick saga that's just continuing to dominate the media?
Well, for me personally, I didn't agree with how he did it, but his message is completely on point. And you know what? Who am I to say that I didn't agree with the style that he did it? Because look how much attention he's brought to it. Look what he's drawn to it. For me personally, it's not how I would have gone about it. But then my experience is completely different from his, or my viewpoint is completely different from his. So, I had said something on Facebook. I said, well, I agree it's his right to do it. The same way I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't like somebody, burning the American flag doesn't mean I disagree with their right to do it. It's protected. Right. But I think he's really started something. I mean, look at the jersey sales. I mean, you could say it's just people jumping on a popularity bandwagon or what's hot, but I think he's really captured something. And the fact that other athletes are really starting to pay attention and listen. It may have not been the most tactful way, but more times than not, when you're dealing with topics like this, the most tactful way is not the way that gets the attention, or it's not the way that gets everybody to stand up.
That's true, and I think, and I said this last week, and I think I had added this in as we were wrapping the topic up and switching to something different. But I really and truly believe that this was supposed to be one of those movements where there were supposed to be several guys that were supposed to do it on the same day that he do it. Like they got together at like a barbecue or cookout or something and said, "Hey guys, this week we're all gonna sit or kneel or do whatever during the national anthem to show that we're not gonna take this oppression. We're gonna take this serious. Or we're gonna fight this in our way." And then I feel like other people might have backed out at the last minute and kind of left him looking like, a fool out there. But now you're starting to see other players do it. I think I saw a soccer
Cornerback.
player that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a
Jeremy
few different
Lane
people.
from the Seahawks is now doing it as well
Right.
too. But
You know,
Kaepernick is getting a lot of support from people who played the game in the past.
right.
I mean, just to get that kind of backing, and it's also bringing to light about. To quickly segue, and this is still talking about the same thing, Stephen A. Smith. And I'm going to put a great shout out there to Stephen A. Smith because all last week he was on fire in regards to his viewpoint and how opinionated he was in his reasoning to put people on blast. And one of the most controversial interviews that happened last week was with Cam Newton being asked about the Colin Kaepernick debate. And if y'all don't get the chance, we have it out there on the Facebook page. Definitely check it out. But all in all, he put Cam Newton on blast because the question was, do you agree with what Colin Kaepernick is doing? And what is your viewpoint on it? And Stephen A. Smith said the best. He said Cam Newton was thinking more about his brand than about what his viewpoint was. I think the term was he was okey-doing or having a roundabout way of answering the question, but he's not really answering the question.
I completely agree, and I mean there was people across race, religion, across all lines that either agreed or didn't agree.
Absolutely.
I mean you had Victor Cruz and Bradshaw, the Giants. They both said, I mean, I support what he's saying. I just don't agree with the way he did it. So, and they gave very
Specific.
concrete.
Yeah,
They gave very concrete and defined answers. And I thought, hell, that those are good points. Those are very valid points to make.
Absolutely.
So like anything, everyone's allowed to have their opinion. In other countries, if you don't stand up for the anthem, you get stoned to death or you get taken out to a firing squad. I mean, like I said before, while I didn't agree the way he did it, I completely supported his right to do it and his and the message that he was sending. But I agree, Cam Newton danced around it. Whereas Victor Cruz and others came out and said, you know what, I get it. I get there's still racial problems in this country. We live it. I get it, but I don't agree with the way he did it. And they gave complete answers about it. At least Cam Newton could have done that.
And I think that was Stephen A's point, and I mentioned that last week. And Cam did dance. I mean, it was just like dancing.
Like it made me so uncomfortable watching him. Like I cringed watching him dance around it. I'm like, dude, just if you don't agree with him, just come out and give a concrete reason why you don't agree, and just stand behind it.
It's like somebody should have put that picture of Nick Young up with the question marks. Like,
I'm pretty sure that was a meme that went around after. I think initially no one really had an issue with it, but I think after Stephen A. Smith put him on blast, it made people realize. Like when I first heard the interview, I was like, "What? He didn't answer the question at all."
Right, exactly.
That's like a 4-year-old trying to answer something like and the rainbow and the unicorn and they did this and it. No, you're not answering the question.
It was like, who let the dogs out? Well, I opened the gate, but then I don't think I opened the gate.
Exactly.
Dogs were gonna walk out. I mean, that's their entire.
Yeah, like I opened the gates, but I didn't. It's like I opened the gates, but I didn't tell them to walk out. I mean, I thought it was like one of those lead a horse to water kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, all you have to see is how he got, how he got put on blast, and how nobody asked Cruz or anybody else. Everybody just said, "Okay, that's your viewpoint. We'll accept that."
Well, that's because Cam Newton's one of the faces of the league versus, receivers like.
But as Stephen A. mentioned, Cam, unlike the receivers, is already set. His guaranteed $60 million contract. Victor Cruz, I don't think Victor's getting that kind of money anymore.
Not after the injuries. No.
Yeah, Bradshaw, he's lucky to be on a team. He's a good player, but he's like, they can't really go out there. But Cam, as a person who's taken the verbal ridicule, hey, he's a thug, he's just out there dancing, he doesn't take this seriously. He's taken the bashing, and in some cases, it has been some racial bashing, like, oh, he's a thug, he's this, that, and the third. I guess this is the only reason I could say, hey, maybe this is why he took the stance. But as Stephen A. said, why do the damn interview?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
You just don't do it. You just don't do it.
Yeah. You just say no.
Just say,
I just wouldn't have did it.
You know, I understand the severity of the situation. It's very sensitive. For the benefit of myself and the brand that I'm trying to represent, it's probably within the best interest
My
of
best
me
interest, yeah.
to not do this interview. And it could have been
But
done like that. And people understood that. Like, okay, you know what? You have to look after yourself. Like, people still say the same thing about Jordan because he didn't say anything, but he didn't necessarily go out there and dance around the issue like he's Michelle Kwan out on the ice skating rink.
But Michael's
Shout out to
never
Michelle
been
Kwan.
there.
I had a major
Michael's
crush on her
never
as a
been
kid,
there.
but whatever.
Michael's never been that way though, and I don't know why people expect Michael to be that person. Like, you had Muhammad Ali, you had a few other people in particular, but I don't know why people expect Michael to be this person that's going to come out and say things like, Michael is all about the money. The money has been
right.
He wants to make his shoes. He wants to go golfing. He wants to gamble. He wants to own the Charlotte Hornets, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. If that's what he wants to do, I'm good with it. I don't buy Jordan. I could care less. You know what I mean? I've never owned a pair of Jordans. So to me, it's like, I've never really seen a big deal. But it's one of those situations where they're talking about Jordan as if he's been the one guy that should have been saying something all along. Well, obviously, he's the one guy who hasn't been saying something all along, so why would we expect him to do anything different? But the problem is that Cam, as we mentioned, just shouldn't have taken the interview. But one last thing before I know we're about to switch topics. The jersey sales is really, really crazy to me. Like, that is crazy to me that people are saying, oh, he should leave. We hate him. I can't stand him. I would be thrilled if people were out there saying, hey, I can't stand you. I'm going to buy your jersey just to burn it. I would be so happy. It's like that scene in NWA. I don't know if you've seen it, Straight Outta Compton, where they were driving around and there's like, oh man, they're stepping on our CDs. They're like, oh, we don't care. They paid for those CDs. They can do whatever they want with them. But that's so crazy to me. But I know we got to move on to the next topic. Professor, what do we have here?
Drew Brees, new contract, and is it ridiculous or is it smart for the Saints to make this contract?
It's a catch-22 to me. Now, when I saw it, I think I was on the phone with a customer at work, and I was sitting there, and I was like, you know, they were asking me about whatever they were asking me about, and it kind of took my attention away for a brief second, and I was like, what? But on the other end, I was like, well, they only gave him a 1-year deal.
Yes.
Right.
So when I first saw the report, it was basically saying that they were looking at a long-term deal. And I was like, but Drew is kind of getting kind of old. What kind of long-term are we talking about here? You know, there's no long-term. You know, and the problem that I have is that I don't feel like the Saints have really taken the necessary steps to find a new, like a predecessor. Like, who's going to take over? Like, Drew is 37 years old. You know, his arm strength is not there as it used to be. He's still one of the most accurate quarterbacks, no question about it, but $44.25 million guaranteed for this season and next season.
I mean, if you look at the past 6 seasons, he only eclipsed 20 picks in only 2010. Other than that, I mean, here's his other interception totals. 2011, 14, 2012, 19, 2013, 12, 2014, 17, and last year, only 11. And he still averaged 30 TDs.
Again, not knocking him for anything, but he is getting older. It seems like the more money they give him, the less people they have around him. Like, remember, they lost Marcus Colston.
Yep.
You know, he was there for a long time. They had to let him roll. I mean, they got some good young receivers around them, but I don't know if
and they just cut Cortland Finnegan today, too. FYI.
I think I'm okay with that. Cause, he's a good, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but he's one of those roster guys you add after training camp. He's a veteran guy, came out of retirement. You add him in to kind of fill in your needs. Not saying I wouldn't take him in Tampa. I would take him in Tampa any day of the week because I always want that grit. We need grit. We didn't have no grit last year, but the Saints are losing some of their core players, and I just don't know if I would have gave that much money to Drew Brees. That's my spiel.
I don't know.
I agree. Go ahead.
I mean, I just look at the age factor. Like, not everyone's Peyton Manning.
And, I think not everyone's Peyton Manning. And I also think that Drew, because if Peyton Manning didn't have the neck issues, I think Peyton Manning would have still been able to play. But because he had that neck issue, cut him down a little bit. Now with Drew, he's had some injuries in the past, and if they've well documented that his arm strength's not there. But yes. Drew was never. He wasn't always the I'm going to launch it down the field type of person anyway. Nope. So they're going to dip and dunk however they please. But I guess the one thing I shouldn't have said is that they don't have the quarterback for the future. I don't know how Garrett Grayson is. I know he was good in college, and I guess that could be somebody that they could be grooming. They have the veteran backup Luke McCown here. But Garrett Grayson could be somebody that they can bring in later on. But if you pay Drew Brees $45 million basically, that you're committing to him for at least 2 more years. And that to me is crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a pay cut next season or they waive him.
Well, I think part of the deal is he actually is taking a little less, according to reports that I was looking at.
Then, I mean, that's not really less though. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money to tie up on one player.
When you think about it, that's reminiscent of a Kobe last contract right there.
Exactly, and he's no Kobe, my friend.
Oh, no, that's completely true, Doctor. He's
really no Kobe. Kobe.
No.
Like
soon Champagne's gonna be saying, Peyton Manning's not gonna walk through that door. Kobe Bryant's not gonna walk through that door. Drew Brees, you need to step it up.
Exactly. But I mean, I just don't know about that. I when I first saw it, once I saw a long-term deal, I said to myself, what are they talking about? Like, Drew Brees, I know he might say he wants to play till 40, but I just don't know.
I mean, to even quickly, jump on another quarterback, talk about playing through 40, Tom Brady.
But see, Tom doesn't take a lot of hits. He definitely doesn't throw the deep ball. I mean, Drew's taking some shots.
Yeah.
Some real shots. Tom, their system is built for him to play for another 5 years because he doesn't really throw. He runs the ball once every 80, 90 snaps. He's really quick. The receivers are really fast. They run their route great.
They got some pretty good running backs. One play for your Bucks.
They got some good receivers.
Yeah.
The people said some saltiness over there, Doctor.
Because what it is? Because the Bucks always release players, and they always seem to wind up going to the Patriots and doing great, a la LeGarrette Blount, Aqib Talib, Darrelle Revis, a few other people that we just let go. Tim Wright went over there, a few people, and they always seem to do well, and it always just pisses the doctor off completely because they could have just stayed right where they were, and we would have been good. But
Bucks are the Knicks of the NFL. Yeah.
Let's keep them. Wait, what?
Oh God!
The professor's gonna ignore that comment. Let's move on. Live television. Moving on.
Oh my goodness!
Speaking of the Bucks and acquisitions or cutting, NFL free agency and 53-man final rosters. Any notable ones, Doctor, Mr. October? Have you seen other than the Drew Brees?
Well, the Bucks did sign Cecil Shorts yesterday.
The third.
I was pretty happy. Cecil Shorts the third. I was pretty happy about. Great slot receiver. The Ravens signed Devin Hester, who I personally. Yes.
That's what I was going to bring up, AKA the Giant Killer.
Yes, I was literally I literally had just sent Jason Light a message on Twitter saying, "Hey,
At TL
Jason,
Double.
yeah, TL Double to at Jason Light. Hey, we should look into Devin Hester. You know that kick return, punt return job doesn't seem to be locked down. We could just bring him in. You know." And hey, Jason Light follows me, so it's perfect. He can read it. He can go ahead and tweet back to me, let me know what he thinks. He can listen to the podcast, let him know that I was talking about him. But I think that these little moves, and that's why we were talking on Twitter earlier about it, at Debate Amongst Friends, of course. The 53-man roster, as the ESPN reporter who was talking to us said, the 53-man roster isn't a lock, so you just never know who's going to be released, waived, injured, whatever, and
Absolutely.
People are going to be picked up. But I think it's really...
And we did follow up by saying what a lot of NFL teams end up doing is they'll cut a lot of their prospects and just put them on the practice squad.
Right.
But that's if they don't...
But
that's if they go unclaimed. Oh, that's so dangerous to me.
It is dangerous. It is
very
dangerous.
I hate that game
because
dangerous. Some of these guys are really, really good. And I would hate to lose somebody. Like I know we had to waive Mike James, who a running back that I've really, really liked for a couple of years now. I feel like he never got his share deal, but I know we had to waive him.
Yeah, because he's injured, right?
Right, exactly. But we do have a young rookie, Peyton Barber, just out of college. I believe he went to Auburn, and I would love to see him as a third running back behind Mike Sims and the Duggernaut.
And the Duggernaut, wow. I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was like that at all.
The Duggernaut. He doesn't want to be called the Muscle Hamster. He's the Duggernaut.
Muscle Hamster? What?
You have to just look at him. I mean, you look at him long enough, it'll make sense.
Well, speaking of other eyebrow-raising factoids, Mr. October, your division rivals, has signed Mark, don't you call me Butt Fumble Sanchez. What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, everybody needs to work, right?
Not everybody, sir. I don't know why they got Mark Sanchez. It doesn't even add up.
It doesn't add up at all. Honestly, it really doesn't add up at all. I mean, he's done nothing. And we talked about this, once again at Debates Among Friends. Actually, Friends is just FR, and also on Facebook page. Just talking about, is Mark Sanchez a starter? Is he a backup, or is he now Tim Tebow?
Is he a pissant?
Well, pissant, Tim Tebow. I mean, it's the same verbiage right there, but digressing.
I don't know. Tim Tebow seems to be making a team at least.
he might go to the Minnesota Twins, but that's for another debate for another time. We have to get Mr. October back on here.
Come on, October, come on.
With Sanchez, listen, nobody wants to be desperate, right? But that seems like what this type of move is. This is a desperate move with you had no other options.
I don't know. They had two rookies. I mean, obviously Dak Prescott is going to be fine. But they released the other rookie to go ahead and bring in Mark Sanchez.
But that's the thing. I mean, did they really have confidence in those rookies? That if you're going to make a move as risky and polarizing as bringing in Mark Sanchez,
but you got rookies
right.
They just got there.
It's got there, yeah.
It's the same thing that I have a problem with it's the thing I have a problem with the Knicks. We'll get these rookies, and they don't get enough burn, but then you let them walk.
Yeah.
What do you want me to tell?
Same thing. It's this thing.
What do you want me to tell you? It's the Cowboys. Rarely do they do anything that makes sense. I mean,
I can't really go there. But we need to actually move on. But one last thing, and the rest of this is going to be talking about wrestling. So, what was everyone's thoughts on the Vikings acquisition? Sam Bradford.
Oh goodness. I rather have Bradford over Sanchez. Only thing is that as a lot of people mentioned, Bradford is Mr. Glass.
He is.
And that's the only thing about it. But if they don't need him for the whole year, then I say they should be good. But they don't even plan on starting him, and that's the thing that they have no choice not to. Like, it kind of sucks that Teddy B went down at the time that he did because it really leaves them in a terrible predicament. And you remember the year that they had to go out and get Josh Freeman, how terrible that was.
Right.
So, because he started against the Giants on that day, he just came in and they just threw him in there with like five
Right.
plays on his little wrist guard, and he just ran out there and played. But I mean, I don't see this turning out. And they gave up a first round pick for him.
Right.
I don't know about that.
And that move basically made the NFC East. I mean, I know the Cowboys got Sanchez, but it basically made the NFC East, for the most part, a battle between Eli Manning and Kirk Cousins.
See, I don't know. I think people are not giving Dak Prescott any credit. I really believe that him and Ezekiel Elliott are going to show and shock the world. Not saying that they're going to.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't want Mr. October to give you that look now, because he's probably giving you that look like.
The Cowboys defense is going to be something special. I got to see the Giants defense is going to be something special.
I almost bust the gut right there laughing too much.
Yeah,
sorry. I almost bust the gut right
That's
there.
my bad. That was my bad. The Giants defense is going to be something special. I have to see what the Giants offensive line does, if they got better from last year, because last year was abysmal, and I couldn't even stomach it.
It doesn't look much better. I mean, Eli's taking one drop, and next thing you know, he's running for his life.
And that's the part that always bothers me about the Giants. So, I mean, the Redskins, they're always
there.
Oh, it's 50-50. You never know what to expect. I don't even know what they've done in the offseason. Like, I know they got, their big free agent acquisition, their new cornerback who got toasted out there in one of the practice videos. But I don't know. I mean, that might not be I'm sorry. Did I say toasted?
Toasty!
But I don't know if that's enough. And then I saw they cut my man Perry Riley. It was like it was one of their better linebackers for the last couple of years, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" So they must have somebody special out there, and they let go of P. Riley. So to me, it's like the NFC East up in the air again. I don't know if the Cowboys will be able to overcome all of the odds, because they lost a lot of defensive linemen, and that's their biggest issue. The Eagles are a mystery team. I don't think they're going to do well, primarily because, number one, the Buccaneers already roughed up their draft pick. So, hey, this is where the big boys play. So, I feel bad that they have to live with that now. The Bucs had to show them how to do this and show them how the NFL is run, and I hate it, but it happens when you play against a great defense like this Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting towards the end, so let's talk about some WWE.
Let's start with that great promo last night with your guy, Dean Ambrose.
It's something that we talked about for a while. One of the things that you said that he struggled with was a lot of his promo taking. The movesets, we really can't fix that right now. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But the fact that he was able to just ad-lib and say what he needed to say, like, go off on his own kind of thing, like, you finally seen that last night.
At first, I was a little skeptical because I was like, all right, where is he going with this whole trophy thing? Oh, God, here we go again.
As the kid said, he threw some massive shade at AJ Styles. Your boy, Styles.
Oh, God, I almost threw up. And, all of the food that I've eaten all day, it almost Styles clashed out of me.
Oh, gosh. That sounds pretty nasty.
Exactly, it is nasty because it's the worst move in wrestling history.
Hilarious.
Again, right after the whoopee cushion. I gotta tell you that. I was at first like, okay, where's he going with this whole trophy thing? He gave him a trophy. All right, where are you going with this? Then he went with the whole no participation thing. Sorry, but then he went on this little rant where he was like, you're not doing anything. You can't beat me. I beat you. And anytime we fought at one time, that was what I did. But this is now. That was then. And I'm not looking back then. I'm looking down and into the future. And it was good. It was good.
You had to applaud him. You had to applaud him because he did something that the fans out there wanted him to do for a long time, and is to not read off a script. And it showed. It showed right there.
I didn't applaud or give any type of emotion until I was positive that there was not going to be a Styles clash. I saw a Styles clash, the entire promo would have been a waste. You flush it down the toilet because that doo-doo just hit the ring. Worst move in history. But it's going to be a good match, though. I mean, I don't know who's going to win it, but it's going to be a pretty good match. And shout out to Dean Ambrose for stepping up his game. And that was SmackDown. I mean, there's nothing really going on SmackDown, I feel like.
No, not really. I mean, compared to Raw, granted, Raw was a major flop this week, so...
Yeah, they did a lot of... we did have... on SmackDown, we did have the Usos go heel.
Once again, it's kind of too little too late for that one, too. I mean, people waiting for that one for about 2 months.
Well, I mean, what can you really do? I mean, you have so many...
Pull a John Cena and bury them underneath 32 chairs?
See, that's why I think at this particular time, that's the only thing I would allow John Cena to do. That's it. John Cena goes heel. Even it won't be believable, but he would have to go full on Hulk Hogan, NWO, join the club.
Oh no, he went there.
He would have to go full on, like, give up kids, no loyalty, no respect. Like, he would have to go full on heel.
Tell the kids to take two of these.
He would have to go so far with it. He would have to bury all of the faces.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying? But
speaking of things that are nasty, Roman Reigns is number 1 in the PWI Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500 2016 list for male wrestlers. When I broke that story, and the doctor is about to heave his lunch, ladies and gentlemen, that's how much he's so excited about this, because Roman Reigns is obviously the best wrestler we've ever seen.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that this was released. The person that released this deserves to get flushed with the Styles Clash. Oh my
He is hurting over there. He is hurting over there over this.
The stomach. I'm trying to scoot away from him because I'm trying to make sure he doesn't throw up on me. I mean, for the people out there, he's green right now. I didn't know people of his complexion can turn that color, but obviously he can.
How the heck?
Man, you got some nice shoes on, man. You don't need him throwing up on those shoes. I mean,
exactly. Like, this is $400 shoes. Come on.
How the heck can somebody who maybe has 2.5 moves be number 1 on a wrestling list? Any list. It could be best, worst. Like, I don't care what it is. He shouldn't even be listed.
They mainly said it was because of how much people talked about him, whether it was negatively or positively.
That's dumb.
So then that means the Kardashians should be the
Right,
best actors in the world. Because
They're like
everybody
the
talks
best
about
ever.
it.
Please don't say that. Please
Oh my
don't
God.
curse people out there, please.
That's
I
ridiculous.
really don't want to hear more about the Kardashians at all. Like,
I
it's
know.
bad enough. It's bad enough when people
Come on
say,
now.
"Oh, have you watched the Kardashians?" Like, no, I don't watch the Kardashians. I don't want to watch them at all.
I didn't
Now you
even
know how
like,
terrible he feels. Come on, man.
I didn't even like Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles being on the list, even John Cena.
Okay, so for those out there, because I know he's just sprouting out names, here are the top 10.
I'm sprouting out names because those are people I remember that should have been on there.
Number 1, anyone but you, Roman. Anyone but you. Number 2, Kazuchika Okada.
Okay.
Number 3 is Finn Balor. He's actually a really good wrestler, so he deserves to be up there.
I'm not sure about Finn.
Number 3 is Finn Balor. And once again, it's the time period they did it. I don't remember what time period, so I apologize, people out there.
It's tainted, but continue.
Number 4 is your boy AJ Styles.
Not my boy, but go ahead.
Number 5 is our boy Jay Lethal.
Not that pissant Jay Lethal.
Number 6 is Kevin Owens. Number 7 is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Which he should have been higher.
Number 8 is Seth Rollins. Number 9 is Dean Ambrose. And number 10 is everyone's favorite critic, John Cena.
I thought Seth should have been higher. Shinsuke should have been higher. Everybody else, they shouldn't even have done a top 10. They should have just done a top 5, maybe. But take Romanoff there. I mean, I think Finn out of Shinsuke and Seth, I probably put him number 5. I just think that Shinsuke is just an immaculate wrestler. I feel like Jay Lethal should be higher because Jay Lethal, he's really underrated, underappreciated in this wrestling business.
You know, I was listening to some YouTube commenters, Don Tony and Kevin Castle show, shout outs to them. And he was saying that the reason why Jay Lethal was much more lower on the list is because
he doesn't know how to rate wrestlers.
No, it's because of the quality of opponents compared to Roman Reigns. And by quality of opponents, Roman Reigns basically fought against AJ Styles, who's like the best wrestler on the roster.
Oh my god. Let's end the show. Oh my god.
Wow, it's gotten to that point.
AJ Styles.
I think we will. We'll follow this one up next week.
AJ Styles sucks.
Mr. October, you want to tell the people how they can reach you? You know, it's actually pretty funny. We have him on Skype right now, and he made a face as he paused, and it's quite hilarious. Like, I'm trying not to laugh harder, but it's quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's okay. That's okay. There you. October, how can the people reach you on Twitter?
Oh, yes!
Oh my goodness, I can't.
Let's see. What's your Twitter handle, Mr. October?
Oh my god, I can't. You can't remember his Twitter handle?
We gotta get you a new one now. You gotta be Mr. October.
Oh, his Twitter handle is at jcurbinist or at jcurbanist. Does that sound right?
That's right.
You can follow myself at Ken86 or the Doctor at TL Double. And you can also follow the show itself. We have ourselves a new Twitter handle. It's at Debate Among Friends. Friends is just FR if you want to do that, or you can search for just Debate Among Friends. But we are getting down on time, ladies and gentlemen. We have ourselves a pretty good track for you tonight. It's from Ashley I, no space. Ashley I, he's a artist out in London, so representing our UK. And the track is called I Don't Want to Be Famous. We found it on the Jazz Hop Cafe website, and we hope you enjoy it. Once again, this is the Professor.
And I'm the Doctor.
And that right there, that's Mr. October. Making the ladies scream as they, and we'll catch you next week. Peace and love.
Good night, everyone.
Deuces.
Says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Hey, come on, yeah. I don't want the rain. A two-step with me, come on. Two-step with me, come on. You with the sound, actually 1, 2, 3, talk to me. Man, I come to this game and to change your brain. Man, I come to the game and to change the game. On the road to riches, trying to make some change. On the road to riches, never change for fame. I wanna know my life, I wanna know my life. I wanna know my girl, I wanna know my wife. I don't care about the bling or the flashy life, because money ain't a thing if it ain't rapping right. Hey, every day, man, I hear the same songs. You ever heard the same songs when I turn on the radio? And these days, man, I swear down bad, man, I turn up the shit cause I don't feel the radio.
What do you guys do to give back to the community? Also directed mostly towards ODB. I know Prize and the Fugees do things for the community, but what is going to be your thing for the community?
Already gotta let you know, trying to get it with my flow, I ain't tryna be famous. So I really gotta let you know, tryna get it on the low, I ain't tryna be brainless. So I really gotta let you know, that whenever something's slow, I ain't tryna be shameless. So I really gotta let you know, but I told you all before, I ain't tryna be famous. Hey, I do the rock away, now come on, I do the rock away, now come on, I lean back, come on, lean back, come on, lean back, come on, I lean back, now come on, and all my people just dance, and give me a chance to come on, I do the rock away, now come on, I lean back, lean back, lean back, hey, I lean back, now come on, and if your feet are on my ground, then your feet on my body, come on, I do the rock away, and everybody lean back, lean back, lean back, I lean back, now come on, and all my sisters just dance, and give me a chance to come on, I do the rock away, now come on, I lean back, hey, lean back, hey, lean back, hey, I lean back, and everybody just cheer.
It's so important to consider this question. What do I desire? Desire.